Hello, and welcome to a deep dive into the role of malware. Over the next hour, we're going to be talking about malware, viruses, ransomware, worms, trojans, hybrid malware, and various other types of malicious applications. We're going to talk about some of the behaviors, and when we have time, we're going to show some of the examples of this malware in action. So let's go ahead and get into the course. So we're going to start off talking about viruses. What is a virus? What is malware? What makes one application malware and one application not malware? What's the difference between them? And then we're going to move on to worms. We're going to talk about the biggest behavioral characteristic of worms, which is its ability to self-replicate. And with this, we'll be talking about Stuxnet, which is one of the most famous historical examples of a worm. We'll move on to talking about trojans. These are pieces of malware that disguise themselves as something that's good and useful, but when it gets onto your system, it performs maliciously. We'll talk about Beast, which is a famous example of a Trojan. Then we'll move on to ransomware. Specifically, we're going to talk about NotPetya. NotPetya happened just a few years ago, and it caused billions and billions of dollars worth of damages. And ransomware is one of the more common and popular types of malware we see today, so this will be an interesting area. We're going to talk about adware. I think everyone's familiar with adware. These are those annoying pop-ups that you get on your machine after you install something you're not supposed to. Spyware. Spyware is the information or applications that try to steal information from your machine. And then we're going to talk about fileless malware. Fileless malware is malware that doesn't write to your hard drive. It stays in memory. And another part of this that we'll be talking about is attackers using things like living off the land binaries, using good applications on your system, benign applications in malicious ways. And then we'll wrap it up by talking about something that's not covered here, which is hybrid malware. And that's going to be malware that uses two or more of these other types of malware to achieve its objectives. And as we go, we'll look at some of the details of these malware. Where it's feasible, we'll show them in operation. So some of the prereqs. The only prerequisite, as far as I'm concerned, is that you have an interest in security and malware. I think if you're here and you're watching this video, you meet that prerequisite. We aren't going to be coding in this next hour. We're not going to be doing any sort of reverse engineering on malware. So all you'll need to do is just have an interest and stay and enjoy your time. So let's go ahead and get into it.